This video is to demonstrate how to apply the two-layer laminate wrap system, how to fletch on it, and how to refletch after that. You'll notice that I'm working on a blue mat here. Now what this blue mat is a thin foam mat you can pick up at pretty much any arts and crafts store for about $1. You could also use a mouse pad or something similar. And what that does is it provides a nice tacky surface to work on so that the wraps don't slide around too much. So let's get started. I'm going to take this decal layer first, the printed decal layer, and we're going to go ahead and separate the backing off of that. Make sure I orient the decal correctly. I'm going to keep this Teflon back paper for a little bit. I'll show you why in a little bit. And in order to apply the wraps evenly, what you're going to want to do is you're going to basically gently butt up the arrow against the decal like so. And when you notice that you get a nice flush contact along the entire edge, you'll start pushing the decal, right? From there you just roll it on in one smooth motion. And there you have a nice even application all the way around. Okay? So once we get the printed decal on, what we're going to do is we're going to apply the overlaminate now. And the overlaminate you're going to pretty much set down just like the printed decal, with one minor difference, is that now you're going to have to pay attention to where the seam line is on the original printed decal. And you might not be able to see it too clearly, but the seam line is right here along that surface right there. That's a seam line. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure to offset that seam line from where you start the overlaminate. So I'm going to turn this so that I see the seam line right on top of the arrow, and by doing that I know I've offset it from the beginning of the overlaminate enough. So I'm going to wedge it right up just like I did before. Once I get nice contact along the entire edge, let's go ahead and roll it right on. And once you get it on there, just use your finger or something like that to smooth it out a little bit. And that should press out some of the air pockets, the mini air bubbles that get trapped underneath. Normally you really won't get too many if you applied correctly. Like right here you'll see that I got a nice even application, no air bubbles. Now you're going to notice that there's going to be a little bit of excess overlaminate sticking out the front right here. And you can do one of two things with that overlaminate, that excess overlaminate. You can either press it down or you can cut it off. Now the overlaminate kind of works a little bit like shrink wrap, where if you apply heat it'll suck down a little bit. So you can take a heat gun or something like that, right, and apply a little bit of heat up here and try to get that to suck down a bit, and then just press down to get it to push down against the shaft a little better. And without applying heat, what you're going to notice is that the overlaminate really won't shrink at all. And so because it won't shrink, you'll notice that there's basically little crease lines all around, and that's just because you end up with a thicker area right here because of the the printed decal versus over here on the bare shaft. And so that discrepancy in height kind of leads to a little bit of creasing on that front end. What I like to do with that excess overlaminate is I just kind of trim it off. You just take a razor blade. It doesn't have to be a very sharp razor blade. Right. This razor blade is fairly dull. It's been used quite a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press it down with just a light amount of pressure right against that edge right there. And I'm going to roll that shaft so the razor traces all the way around that front edge. And once you do that, let's find the edge of the overlaminate and then pick it right up. And that excess bit in front should pretty much come right off. And that leaves a little bit of cleaner look right here where you don't have that excess sticking out. And I prefer to do that myself too. So there you have it, and that's the wrapped arrow.